Oh, rat. What's up, everybody, and welcome back. StarCraft 2 Highlights just put out a compilation of the greatest cannon rushes of all time. Let's see what made the cut.
We're gonna
he's really going for this cannon rush.
Okay, I know this one. Here we go. 1, 2, he blocks it off. 1, 2, buckle my shoe.
3, 4 cannons at your front door.
Oh, you beat me to it. I was gonna try to go something. Well played. Well played, Artosis. Okay, so this just is annoying. That blocks.
Yeah, this corner was so disgusting. Oh my god. I remember this corner very well, guys. 2 pylon wall off. The thing is, you could get enough surface area to take those pylons down, and it's not actually walled off that much. So the biggest thing that players never do is just pull drones immediately and attack the pylon. And that, honestly, with the amount of surface area on those pylons, you'd break it down in time. They could build another pylon behind it, but I don't know, man. I feel like you should be able to defeat this, even just by building spines. Like, Sue here is going to go for a 3rd base, so he's planning to cancel. Oh, so Classic's going to cancel the 3rd as well? Oh, this is so ridiculous.
So you're like, no, I'm going to counter rush again.
The thing is, with only 3 drones out, you can actually just force this one through.
Yeah.
Like, 3 drones will not stop this if you put the money in.
Wow, Sue's like,
Right, he's
wow,
gonna
guys.
as well.
Sue's like, I guess I have to make
He needs
another
a cannon rush here.
Cannon
too.
rush there. Let's keep
I'm
doing
not even
this.
joking.
Let's
Let's
do
just
a
move
cannon
across
rush.
the
Go.
map.
Yeah, man.
I want
yes!
to see.
Yes, he's gonna cannon rush again. This is so cheesy.
I just want to see every base, like the hatchery, just migrate across the map, and every base has 2 cannons.
Cannon. Yeah, this is what I want.
Because if neither of them expand, I guess that can happen, right? Like, that's fine.
Yes.
Because if neither of them expand, I guess that's fine.
I think this is the first time.
All right, I'm just going to migrate that button. So already, Classic let 2 pylons finish on the high ground. He could have canceled one of those, rebuilt it, and then canceled it again once he saw that Sue wasn't going to try to break out. The problem for Sue is he can't get outside of his main base. So he can't get Zerglings past those cannons at his ramp. This is why you can't give up ramp control and just keep building. Remember, guys, this is Heart of the Swarm. So you don't have Ravagers. You need to break. You need to be going Roaches right now, or a Spine Crawler to break this out. Like, a Queen can find the right angle. Yeah, the Queen can. The Queen should be able to hit that pylon very easily without getting hit in return. But Sue can't seem to find the correct angle for it for whatever reason. So he's mispositioning his Queen. His Queen needs to just come in on the right angle. He's finally going for a Roach Warren, but dude, what's crazy about this is how slow the transition is from Classic. It's 6 minutes, and Classic's Natural's not finished. Now, obviously, it's Heart of the Swarm, 6 minutes, but still, he took so long to start probing. But this is actually wild. He's going to go Lair. I mean, there's only 1 cannon there, right? I think, okay, maybe there's 1 cannon on the low ground as well.
So, yeah, this is a weird one.
This is happening, guys. This is real. Classic's like, I'm not playing this guy in a normal game.
Yeah, pre-Ravager, it was even more important to pull drones and just stop the cannon rush getting up. It is a 4-player map. Oh, he's going to proxy hatch. He's got a lair, and he's proxy hatching, but Classic finds it immediately.
This is the cheesiest game of all time.
Tasteless is so happy.
Making Roaches right now.
If we're talking about cheese like Swiss cheese or Gouda cheese, this is like straight up cheese that was made in a lab. It's like that plastic cheese you get on your Subway sandwich. It is made by scientists.
It's the craft singles. This is the craft singles for sure, Tasteless. We know what you're talking about. We're talking about the cheese that when you try to cook it, you know, and it doesn't melt, it just blows up. You guys know what I'm talking about, where the top of the cheese just kind of balloons upwards and the top like crisps and burns. That's the sort of cheese this is. He's breaking out with his spine. He's trying to go Nidus Roach. Dude, if he wins this game, I mean, the thing is, there's no reason to cannon rush that front hatchery. This is like actually really inefficient what Classic's doing. Because the thing is, that hatchery is on your side of the map. You're going 2-base robo. Like, what's the hatchery going to do? You can just make Immortals and Sentries. I don't know why he's invested in cannoning every single base. Like, it seems entirely unnecessary. But it's bloody funny to watch.
Why would you let that one finish? Huh.
Professional cannon rusher in chat,
This is real.
Boanan, is saying, well, the thing is, there's actually no reason to cannon rush any hatchery other than the first one, because the other hatcheries are in such bad positions, you can just make a normal expansion, a 2-base army, and you'll kill them in the follow-up.
Cannons prevail. All right, he's like, okay, screw it. I'm going to make this out here. This is ridiculous.
I am confused why I let that finish.
I think it might have been like a diversionary thing or something. You know,
diversionary tactics.
He makes legs or something, and he's like, our force is under attack.
Yeah.
It's a diversionary hatch. Yeah, if it's a diversion, you cancel it, get the money back. But he got some eggs out.
Like this one's pretty much dead in the water, I would say.
This is game over, man.
Sue is not going to win this game, folks.
Oh, and there's a mothership almost out as well.
Spoil it for StarCraft.
The Immortal 2 cannons. No shield batteries back in these days. But there's no Ravages, no Roach Speed. This is useless.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, that was just painful, man. That was so hard to watch. That was like... It's funny, but it also... I mean, like, I just got to look at the start again and go, like, wait a second, like, wait, why didn't you just pull drones? Like, it's not that hard to defend this sort of cannon rush, guys.
I don't think... 3, 4...
Because if you pull 4 drones, right? I mean, let me just draw. I got to do this. I got to use my tools, guys. We got to use our tools, all right? Okay, so let's get our brush out. Yep, that should work. All right. So basically, here's the issue, guys. There is enough room for 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially even a 5th drone to attack this pylon, which means they're going to kill it really, really, really quickly. Then you can get 1, 2, 3. I think you can get 4 on that. I think you get 4 on each pylon. Now, obviously, he can squeeze a cannon in there, and then he can get a pylon here as well. Now, if he's super pro, which I didn't see any pro gamer do this until Parting started doing it in like a few years ago. So no one would have done. He could always cancel that pylon and then rebuild it 1 square back. Right? Because the drones won't be able to move in and block. So you cancel it, and then you rebuild another 1 square back. And then it's just that pylon going down, which provides access to the cannon. And there'd only be 2 or 3 drones attacking at a time. So you could argue, looking at that, well, 2 or 3 drones aren't going to kill the cannon. The cannon will finish. But, I don't know. I feel like it might be worth sacrificing some drones to do it. Now, on the other hand, obviously there's an argument behind, well, you should just always have a drone blocking this position on this map or play pool first rather than hatch first. It's a hard argument to make, especially because if we look at the timing of this, I forgot how this was in Heart of the Swarm, but look at, if we go back in game, the spawning pool hasn't even started. So with a hatch first build, your pool used to be so goddamn late. Actually getting Zerglings or Roaches out was so delayed. The timings are different for this than I remember. So I could be a little bit overly critical.
And it's at your front door.
Oh, you beat me to it. I was going to try to go something. Well played. Well played, Artosis. Okay, so this just is annoying.
If by craft singles you mean the finest cheese substance known to man, heck yeah. All right. I think that's enough on this one. All right, that's just a nasty cannon spot though. A 2 pylon wall off like that is pretty disgustingly efficient. Hats off to Classic for, like Twitch chat says, it wasn't about winning the game, it was about sending a message, and he did just that.
Well, this can't be a thing that he keeps doing.
Well,
or can it be?
You say that, and then we have players like Haas.
My man!
And,
okay,
Party.
Scarlet already is looking for it.
Wait, which tournament was this?
Be a thing
Oh, so this was just from 2020 on Eternal Empire, but this is a Code-esque group stage match, Prince vs. Scarlet.
that he keeps doing.
well,
or can it be?
You say that, and then we have players like Haas and
okay,
Party.
Scarlet already is looking for it.
The classic 3 pylon wall. Now, this is definitely one where you can basically just get so much surface area on these pylons that you can definitely break in. But a high-level player will only let the bottom pylon finish, cancel the other 2. They'll get the cannon started, and they'll wall it off with fresh pylons, or even potentially, I believe you can go cannon and then a gateway below it, and a last pylon to seal it off. This is really hard to deal with, but I think if you pull enough drones, you can basically always just completely depower and overwhelm the cannon on the low ground. I've defended it many times in the past. I don't think this is a good enough position on this map. But most pros never pull drones. They just don't believe that'll happen because they never block the key wall-off positions.
Party's over.
Okay, she's pulling a good number of drones.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I actually think the top pylon had more surface area than this one, but I'm not sure. Oh, that's a nasty wall off. So you can still break this one down, but because she should have already pulled more drones. If she's going to commit to the drone pull and not cancel the hatch, she should already have every drone pulled so that she can leave 5 attacking the pylon on the top and everything else can get down here. She needs pylon drones going past the gas to attack this pylon, this gateway. And in this goal, it's not about killing the cannon. It's about killing everything around the cannon and depowering it. And this can work and you can come out on top of it. But if you're not going to pull everything, you should at most pull 3 or 4 drones. I think any more than that, you're wasting money. Because you need to commit super hard and shut it down. If you don't do that, you're just not going to be able to do it.
On the high ground, so we can go up onto the high ground.
Yeah, really well planned out by Prince, you can tell.
Well, this is just criminally cheesy. I absolutely love it.
For those who don't know, the reason why Tasteless is so aroused every time there's a cannon rush happening is he is one of the cheesiest RTS players ever. Day 9, his younger brother, was the more nerdy, introverted, hardcore macro player who really learnt how to play the game. Whereas Tasteless was the low-effort, cool older brother, naturally had a bit more swagger to him, and basically would always take the easy route, finding dirty cannon spots and really nasty cheeses and lots of cool one-base plays. That's just what Tasteless enjoyed more as a Brood War player, whereas it's great now as well that he's paired with Artosis, because Artosis, much like his brother Day 9, is a macro god who hates cheesy plays. So that's why you've got such a good Bert and Ernie sort of dynamic between the two, where Tasteless is absolutely just having fun as Ernie, chilling out, doesn't give a crap. And Artosis, on the other hand, gets so angry when he gets cheesed, and he really disrespects players that take big gambles in the game. Kind of random that I was mentioning Day 9 there, but I always just give that context because that's how they grew up, with one cheesy brother, one tasteless brother. Artosis, who he's casting with, of course, not his brother.
See the Ravagers here.
Yeah, like,
By the way, this is actually in range, but the combination of the Queen. Okay, this
Scarlet's actually holding this really well.
Yeah.
But there's a follow-up here, and it's the Stalker follow-up.
Yeah, and the Stalkers actually in these small numbers of Zerg units are quite strong.
This can't work.
Yes, absolutely. Very microvolt. You throw down a couple
I think she took her 2 gases too late. She's floating a ton of minerals right now.
shield batteries.
Oh my god. So she's floating, I think she's floating too many minerals. And she doesn't quite have enough gas. So the thing is, now the Stalkers are here with the batteries, and this is the old shield battery that spawned with 100 energy. Oh, the Spine got some really good damage. That's really nice, though. Yeah, if she can just keep biling this down. The problem is she's only got 1 queen as well, so no transfuses. Now, he's going 2-gate Stalker. This is a really cool version of this, and it's actually, once it gets up, Stalkers are so microable, they're really hard to deal with. This is really, really dirty.
It's a limitless resource as long as you have the unit there to absorb the cooldown. By the way, this cannon that's out in the upper left has allowed these Stalkers to eat way more spine shots every time a Stalker runs through.
Yeah.
Now, I think we're at the number where they can eventually pick that off. There's no transfuse available.
Oh, the Ravager goes down. Oh, the Ravager and the Spine. She's losing a lot of damage.
Ravagers as well.
She's losing a lot of damage. He's out producing her soon as well. He's making so many batteries and Stalkers.
Picked off is actually still going to stay alive.
Oh, this is such a problem now. Oh, she just can't get rid of these bloody Stalkers, even with the drones pulled. And cannons do so much damage. She gets rid of a probe. She wants to bile in the middle of those batteries, but he cancels. Great cancel for Prince. This is really well executed for him, and she's floating a lot of minerals. So you can see she could have built a few more queens, had a couple more transfuses, or maybe another spine crawler. And I think the big thing here is she just didn't expect him to commit so hard up the ramp. And remember, he killed her sporting pool as well. So he got a crazy amount done, and she's lost all of her Ravagers now. He's just basically saying, look, I got 2 Stalkers building. I'm just going to keep building batteries, canceling batteries, and picking off your units. She gets another Ravager snipe down. She's got Reddit Point Ravagers hiding in the back, but there's no healing on the way. She absolutely should have got a few more Spine Crawlers. You just don't expect someone to headbutt up your ramp like this. Spines are a pretty bad option against Prism Immortal because it's so easy to dodge the Spine Crawler attacks. But she really should have actually doubled down on a bit more defense. This is one of those things. She's probably never played against this exact variation. Oh, those biles! Hitting all 4 shield batteries. Juicy bile placement. But she's pulling drones to do this as well. And now the Ravagers are so low, she might just lose to the Stalkers straight up.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's just the Queens and
Oh. Oh, this is so painful. But great play by Prince. Bringing out the cheesy builds.
Scarlet only has 9 drones though.
Yeah, not looking looking so hot.
To the 20 right now.
Ooh.
Trying to pick off that spine. But the
Oh,
spine
gotta be
down,
careful.
hit there.
Yeah, she's done.
Wins.
All right, let's go back. I always want to look at these and say, could she have held it earlier? And you can see she's floating minerals for a long time in this early game.
Now you win or lose.
So let's look at this point. So already we said she pulled a few too many drones down. If you just want to force the buildings, you should pull 3 or 4 drones. Any more than that, and you waste a lot of mining time. And you can see that she hasn't taken gases yet. So the real problem we see here from Scarlet is she's hesitating on picking a response. So what you want to do is you want to go all minerals and just like pull all the drones. Don't bother with gases. I'm breaking this here and now with drones. Maybe I'll add a spine crawler or some zerglings for the next step. Or you go immediately for the double gas. Notice she's only done the double gas super late. And he's even, and he just gets in her face here. And the thing is, if she built a few more spines, she might have been able to break out of this. But yeah, that's nasty. I think she was just a little bit indecisive and caught off guard. Because this is one of the very few times I've seen someone cannon rush on this map. Usually people did not cannon rush on this map. So she was probably expecting a big macro game. Really well played by Prince, though. That was slick. Really dirty build.
Prince wins.
All right, so now we got Parting Rogue from Asus ROG 2020. Parting, the king of the cannon rush, dude. He stopped doing it because everyone started expecting it, but people would be paranoid about getting cannon rush playing against him. This was in 2020, so just a few years ago as well. And Parting, honestly, one of the few pro players who did really good cannon rushes. He actually kind of curated a community of cheesy bastards for himself. I remember even the pylon wall-off strategy, a random Protoss player found that out when he did the single pylon wall cheese versus Solar. A player in his Discord found it, posted about it in his Discord, and I believe the theory is that's where he actually read about the abuse that he could do by walling off with a single pylon. Okay, a gateway goes down as well. Now, there's surface area on that cannon, but that's a bait. That's a bait. He's going to trap you. He's going to trap you. Don't trap your drones in there. Rogue. Oh, my God, Rogue. Oh, that was so obvious. That was so obvious. I can't believe Rogue fell for that. I'm sorry, I'm blocking Rogue's face. Let's go back and see what his reaction was. Oh, that was a classic move. I mean, that's GG right there. Let's look at Rogue's face. He's like, hey, you left it open. You're going to let me kill your cannon, you silly Billy.
Oh no, I feel like Parting messed up. The probe should have always been there to potentially drop another pylon. How many drones can attack the cannon?
Zero response on Rogue's face. I guarantee you, inside his heart, he was dying. Oh man, that is savage. And look, he's going to try and beat the cannon with the drones.
Like it was a master genius plan, trapping them inside with the cannon, and already 3 drones falling.
No, the cannon's going to survive, and he just GG's.
So what do you think he's going to do?
That's so disgusting. Oh, that's a classic Parting free win there. And it's good because it's against Rogue. If you don't mess with Rogue, he will abuse you with his own dirty cheeses. So that's a really good way to keep Rogue honest. All right, so we got Tails versus Roro, 2014 Season 2 GSL, and he's gonna wall him in with a Forge? Oh, Tails was always one of the dirtiest players. Tails was a real dirty boy. This is such a ridiculous build, but it's pull first for Roro, which is a pretty safe opening. Now remember, there's no Ravages back then, so these sort of wall-off builds were very oppressive. He could have pulled all of his drones and attacked it. Because that natural ramp is so far from the main, it's pretty dicey to try and break out of that. I feel like he'd easily just re-wall in behind it as the Forge goes down, cannons would finish, and you'd have wasted too much mining time. Yeah, this is 2014, guys, so this is Heart of the Swarm. Roro was a really good champion level player. I think he won a GSL at one point, I believe. Tails, the big underdog in this matchup, played for MVP back in the day. Played for a few different teams over the years. He was pretty good, but he was never that top tier player, whereas Roro had a streak at the very top. Now, obviously, for those who didn't catch what happened, let me just go back really quickly. So what he's doing here, guys, is he's going to squeeze himself through the wall. So by building a pylon there, he's building it flush up against this pylon and this Forge. So there's actually no space for the probe. So what it does is it squeezes the probe through the wall, and then he just cancels the pylon. So that's this has always been one of the dirtiest tricks with cannon rushing. It's the ability to just squeeze yourself through gaps. So it's a solid wall for your opponent, but it's not a solid wall for your probes. And it's one of the dirtiest little details that allows the probe to be the #1 cheesiest unit in the game. No other single unit can pull off a cheese the way a single probe can.
He's hard to prepare for. I wasn't expecting this. Roro wasn't expecting this, and Roro might die to it.
Yeah, he actually doesn't have any drones coming down either.
So Roro's going double gas, right? He's like, okay, he should be dropping a roach horn, just waiting for 150 minerals. He should definitely not have built the hatchery. That hatchery is just, he should cancel that. He could try to get a spine, but I think it's way more important to build that roach horn right now. He still hasn't started his roach horn. Ooh, cancels at the last second. He's taking way too long. Dude, pull the queen back, put a creep tumor down, make a roach horn, and get out. He still hasn't dropped a roach horn. Is he going to go lair? Oh, he's going to go Nidusworm or Mutas. Okay, so lair starts up in the main base. What is this build?
It's like a 3-pylon block.
Let's listen to a little bit of Tastosis here.
Patch with the plates at the bottom. It's
something like that.
Yeah.
He's used a lot of resources to get this up, and it's kind of all in wonky positions. Like, for instance, he can walk a queen down and kill the pylon very easily, take out the cannon. Of course, he wants to use those queens right now for using their energy instead, but it's not as if this is going to be too hard to break out of.
So, okay, there's a Hydralisk den actually going up here.
So we got a question actually from Boanon who says, well, I've only been cannon rushing in Legacy, the Void, I'm a newer player. Why did people in Heart of the Swarm expand? Why didn't you just get 2 gates and claim a free win by building Stalkers there because they couldn't make Ravagers? I actually don't really know. I imagine Nidus is a little hard to deal with. Yeah, I don't know. No one really ever tried it. So I think usually people just weren't used to that sort of transition. I think maybe people were also generally cannon rushing off a lower probe count. I'm not really sure. I feel like, racking my memory, I just don't think anyone ever tried it. So we never really saw any potential weakness to it, which I don't know if there was one. You might have just been able to win with Stalker Micro.
Okay. Okay, well now he's... You know what?
So he's going to take the gold and then try to poke at the same time.
With this. Yeah.
Oh, this is such a cool response. Okay. This is such a cool response. He's gonna Nidus a drone to the gold, spread creep there with a queen, and try to just macro out of it. Now, he's actually on a similar work account because he's just kept droning the whole time. And he's gone straight to Hydras. He says, well, I'm getting the lair for the Nidus. I can also skip early game tech and go straight to Hydralisks. And he could break the cannon rush from behind. Oh, this is really cute. This is very cute. And hearing the Nidus Worm, Tails is panicking. Tails is massing cannons. He's massing cannons in his main and natural right now because he's worried about getting busted. I think his natural has 3 cannons building.
I really like it, especially because he immediately made the second hatch in his main, so it's not like...
There's no shield batteries, of course, which does hurt the Stalkers, so they're not as effective, Boanon, but you are right that without Ravagers there, you can out-micro Roaches for days.
It's funny that Tails has spent... I actually want to go over this replay and just count up everything as far as costs.
There's 8 cannons on this map. It's 3-gate production. Obviously, a big economy advantage, though. 47 workers to 38. 2-base Hydra. He's now adding Roach Tech in to get some tanky units in front of the Hydras. I don't know if that's the right call. I feel like maybe... Oh, I mean, this is just tough. It's a 2-base Stalker Sentry push coming. The Mothership's joining in. There's a few Zealots up front, which aren't very effective versus Hydras, but I don't know what Hydra upgrades Roro made. Notice I alternate calling him Roro and Roro, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know which way it was meant to be said. It's been years since I said that name. Trying to build a spine crawler. He's broken out of the cannon rush, and the 3rd hatchery's gone down. I don't know if Blink was made in this game. This doesn't feel like a game where Blink was made. Tails is just going to go for a big force field all in. Remember, no Ravagers means there's no answer to force field. You just need to be spread out in a big concave of units and then pull back and kind of bait the force fields out. But when you're outnumbered like this, it's hard to choose to do that. Oh man, this is really scary. The Hydras getting split up. The Guardian Shield's so effective. Mothership throws Time Warp down on some of the units. Drones coming in from the north as well. Apologies for the quality, guys. It just is old content. The bitrate on it is not very good, so when there's a lot of fighting, it blurs up a crazy amount. And it's just too many Stalkers. 4 more Stalkers, 5 more Stalkers warping in. And he converts to the victory. This was a really dirty cannon rush. You know what would have been so frustrating about this one, guys? Basically, all of us as Zerg players in Heart of the Swarm would have said, well, okay, I'll play pool first because I'm a safe Zerg player, so I can't get rushed. Roro goes pool first, and he still gets fully walled in, and there's not much he could do about it. Kind of disgusting build order. Kind of beautiful, kind of disgusting. Hats off to Tails for doing something very dirty and getting the win against a player who is a massive favorite. Hey, what spell? Oh, okay, that's a good... Okay, so people are asking, what spells does the Mothership have? It has Time Warp, which stops movement and attack speed by 50% in that radius. It could be slightly different numbers in this period. Its main ability, though, was Nexus Overcharge. So it could, or Photon Overcharge. It could place an overcharge on a Nexus for 100 energy, and it would, for, I think, 40 seconds, or maybe a minute, I think it changed it a few times, it would basically be a cannon. So a Nexus would be a cannon, but the cannon had as much range as a siege tank, or even slightly more. So basically, it would just turn a Nexus into like a Black Citadel from Warcraft 3. It would just be like, boosh, boosh, boosh. And it was a very powerful defensive spell. So that's actually what I talk about. Whenever people are complaining about the modern shield battery, I always say, remember the Mothership Core when it could turn a Nexus into a cannon that shot further than a siege tank? That was way more gross. Trust me, the shield battery overcharge is the least offensive form of Band-Aid solution to Protoss's weak early game. That was a Mothership Core, right? Did the Mothership exist? I believe you would morph the Mothership into a Mothership Core. I believe it was like morphing it, like a Zerg unit. I think that's how it worked. All right, guys, next one's Parting versus Hyun. DreamHack 2 is 2014. Hyun was a monster.
He's a fantastic
back in the day. Sounds like we've got Todd commentating.
Redesign the map a little bit more.
Yeah, he's going to redesign the map.
Todd and Apollo, the old days of commentary, guys. And we're on Cactus Valley, one of my favorite maps. We even had this in Legacy of the Void for one season. I actually really enjoy this map. I whip it out sometimes if I'm doing a 1v3 versus viewers, because the spawns are so far apart that it makes it a bit more fair. Hyun knows he's being cannon rushed, so he's pulling 4 drones already. So apparently Parting cannon rushed a fair bit back then as well. But oh no! He thinks it's a fake. Oh, here comes the wall off. He's getting 3 pile on the front of the natural. Uh-oh. Hyun's going to pull the drones. Now, if you pull the drones, you can defend this. I'm pretty sure of that. But actually, Parting has a lot of minerals. He can re-wall and then re-wall and then re-wall. Hyun has to be really good with focus firing his drones. Right now, there's more space in the middle where he could squeeze one more drone in for attacking, I think. I thought he could have got it. I think he could have got it. Oh, Parting's going to squeeze a unit to the front. Squeezes the probe through. Okay, guys, don't get me wrong. A lot of people would say, hey, at least you didn't lose the game there. You know, pull the probes back. At least you don't straight up lose. I will argue there's the only one thing worse than pulling the drones and then just losing the game, not going through. It's pulling the drones and then backing out. If you pull this many workers, you are committed. You have to commit and break the whole thing down and push through and just break everything down. Now, it might have worked, it might not have, but you always look at this as a pro gamer and you say, I should have either left the drones in the main, taken gases, tried to get roaches, that sort of stuff, or I should have pulled even more drones and just committed hard and not backed away. To back out halfway through, this gives Parting a massive advantage.
Gonna be up on time to help and defend against these.
Wow. And Hyun realizes the danger that he's in. Pulls drones down, try to deal with this.
He needs to cancel
This is an expensive cannon rush. If he had some drones out on the map, expanding elsewhere is a very real option.
It's going to take a couple of hits, and there it is. Probe is down.
Oh, he gets the probe. He caught the probe on the ramp with the drones. Really good move by Hyun.
Do is squeeze out some drones out of this hatchery, maybe a queen here as well, and take gases in his main. Maybe go for something like a Nidus or roaches to clean up these cannons. Maybe an all-in, you know. Zergling Baneling. I don't think Zergling Baneling actually is
all right.
cannons, but maybe a Nidus.
A successful cannon rush here.
Chat says, I think he thought he was safe when the pylon finished because he couldn't build cannons in front of the wall. Very good point from Twitch chat. He might have forgot about the fact that you can squeeze a probe through the wall, which Parting is doing a second time here. And he's building another cannon. And he's looking ready to take a Nexus at home. Now, back then, no one went for Stalkers in the follow-up. There's a decent argument that you could just stay one base, build Stalkers on the front line out of gateways, forward gateways, and win that way. But it just wasn't the meta. It was always kill the Zerg's expansion, expand behind it, and you're up a base. That was just kind of the way pro players thought about the cannon rush.
4 cannons with the one behind.
He gets a creep tumor, but losing the queen, big mistake there. He should have held position that queen.
You go into mothership core very quickly for photon overcharge for the all-in that's going to come for you, because surely you have to go for an all-in here if you're Hyun.
And this is a complete all-in from Hyun. This is do or die.
The Nidus Worm was way more expensive back then. And it was just so transparent. That's what you were doing. Now, what he could have done here is he could have gone Swarmos on one base and very slowly broken out. But of course, that is not something people thought of back then. And the Nidus Worm on the outside is kind of a good idea, because at least he can guarantee it gets up. He's got 2 queens. The problem is the Mothership is going to have 100 energy. We were talking about it in the previous game. Mothership is going to be able to turn a Nexus into a giant piece of defense. But, oh, that cannon at the front is really badly placed. He had a cannon right behind the wall. Very poorly placed cannon. These other cannons, I think, will finish in time, though. And he has extra pylons behind it. So he should be okay. Oh, a bit slow on the force field, though, for parting. Yeah, losing that cannon. Another big mistake. These cannons have been way too exposed. The sentry, he pulls back his weak sentry, though, parting the micro god. And that Mothership's almost at 100 energy. Which just means even if you get in the main somehow, he can activate overcharge there or the natural. He's making more sentries and cannons, and this is rough.
Yeah, these roaches looking for some way. Hydralisk and spine crawlers being added on. Force fields from parting, traps 3 roaches. He's gonna bring down those.
Protoss just needed a cyber core and 100 minerals and 100 gas to build the Mothership core back in the day. So it took, and it would build out of the Nexus. So a lot of players would delay it as long as possible because they wanted to build as many probes as they could. So if you could surprise a Protoss player with an all-in, they often would get caught off guard because they wouldn't have built the Mothership core yet. But there's games like SOS Life, final game of BlizzCon 2015, where it looks like Life's going to kill him, and then the Mothership core pops out and just saves the day.
This is almost impossible at this point here for Hyun to hold. The Immortals and the amount of force is going to do so much damage, and Parting sees this, and how is he going to deal with it?
Oh, Hydra spine, but a few Hydras get caught out front. Oh, this is tough. And remember, guys, back here, you did have F2, but you didn't have control group stealing. And in general, the different quality of life changes weren't really in the game. So, oh, the Immortals. Oh, I mean, this is Parting in his element. Parting was famous for his Soul Train, obviously bringing it straight out of Soul Korea. Immortals sentries, some Stalkers and Zealots, and he would just rip people's faces off. Well, that was awesome, guys. That looks like that's it here. Make sure you go and check out SC2 highlights. I'm going to link this video below, and definitely check out all their other videos. We've got Greatest Cannon Rushes of All Time, Episode 2 and more. They've been pumping out content for so many years. Give them a sub, a like, a follow, and thanks for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.